Hi, I'm Aileen. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am a homeschool mom of 4 kids, ages 11, 9, 7, and 3. Now, I have expressed my struggle with science this year, and I had a curriculum picked out at the beginning of the year, and it ended up just not being the right fit for our family. And so I've really struggled with what we're going to do for the second semester. And so what I decided on is the Weather and Natural Disasters Unit Study from the Waldock Way. We have used her curriculum before and I've liked it. So I thought I would give you a flip through today since it's a relatively newer product. What I have printed out is just the teacher manual, and then I did make some of her like game cards. So I'm going to show you those as well. I am pairing it with a few things that did not come from the Waldock Way. There's another creator called Little School of Smiths. If you go to her website, she creates her own curriculum as well, but she's been doing this unit this year and has paired it with a few other things. And so I'm just following her lead. So I did get these 2 books and I've started to map out what chapter just to make it easier for myself. So the Eyewitness Weather book and the Eyewitness Natural Disasters book. So she paired the Waldock Way curriculum with these. So I thought I would too, because we love a good visual reference book to just kind of peek through and read about a little bit. And then also this weather climate science lab for kids. The one thing I feel like is lacking in the Waldock Ways curriculum, and I haven't used it yet, so I don't have a review for you, but the one thing it's lacking is it does have some like labs, but there's no pictures, and I'm very visual, and this one has pictures. So I may do some of hers, and there's some overlap, like some of these, the ones listed in there are in here, but I'm gonna probably use this the most. So let's take a look inside of her curriculum. It's in a PDF, so you do have to print it yourself or use it digitally. I just printed mine, laminated the front and bound it. It starts out with a table of contents with unit study resources. They have some extra stuff like sensory play, and then it just goes through the chapters. So she gives some extra resources here that you can utilize, reference books, fiction books, nonfiction books, if you wanted to add into the learning, especially if you have an older learner, or if you have a kinesthetic learner. She is all about games, which I am here for. So she includes some printable games, but then you can see she has this whole list of other lab kits and games that you can do. She has a sensory play, 2 different sensory play options actually. And I love this because I have a preschooler, so I have not printed these yet, but we will be doing the Play-Doh mats. Sensory bins. She makes a huge mess, so we'll get there someday maybe. So it starts out with an intro to weather and natural disasters. It does have a supplemental book list, but you do not need that. All you need, she has it scripted here. So you don't need that. I did mention that I did purchase a couple of books, but it's not required for this unit. She has her YouTube playlist here with a QR code, or you can click it if you're using it digitally. Same with her Pinterest board. And then she does have more information. She includes some websites here to explore as well, which I also think is really good for older kiddos. So then you just read through this with your child, or if you want to read it and then paraphrase, you can. I love a scripted curriculum, so this is my jam. It's easier for me to just read it to my kiddos and then we can discuss. Now, this book, it does come all in one, so it's not separated by student book. I wish it was, because I was printing double-sided and then I realized that the workbook pages are just right in here, which is fine. I'll probably just copy them when it comes time. But she has lots of workbook pages. So we have matching, which my kids love that. I Spy types of weather, word scramble, and then you can see my little writing myself notes here. And then this is the next lesson. So this was the first lesson, which was an intro. Now this is Who Studies the Weather. So more book lists, YouTube. hands-on activity. This one is making a rain gauge, which we are going to do, but I'm going to use the pictures from that science book I mentioned. And then it's got a link to weather terms and glossary for kids. I love that. And then again, she's got Who Studies the Weather, totally scripted, famous meteorologists. So I would maybe read this on one day, and then when we would read this one on another day, and then maybe find a YouTube video, or perhaps she has a YouTube video about Jim Cantore linked. She probably does. And then there's a coloring page. So, you know, my younger child can do the coloring page. My older child can do the biography. There's a word search. I love that there's options because I am homeschooling multiple children. It's nice to be able to break it down and let them pick and choose depending on their level. Or if I wanted to make this unit last longer, we could hypothetically do all three. Okay, so here is the next one. Let me just take these off. So book list, 4 seasons, more information about the seasons, a hands-on activity, a YouTube playlist. Now the first one did have a Pinterest board, and I think that Pinterest board has it's just for the entire unit. So she doesn't include the Pinterest board on every lesson. It's just at the beginning because it's not broken up by lesson. So scripted, label the 4 seasons. Maze, predicting the weather. I should have taken these out before I did this video. Sorry. Okay, so here's this hands-on activity, make a barometer, more information about weather forecasting. So kiddos who want to go on the websites and check it out, they can. Predicting and measuring weather. So again, scripted, and then some fun graphics. And then she does have the anatomy pages here. And then in the back of the book, you can print out the words for them to cut and paste, or they can fill them in on their own. And then here's the one that you can reference. So we're all still on wind power. We're on making weather power still, hydropower, going over climates. I love that there's different options or different areas. So you could even have a kid pick their favorite and then do like a little report, or like standing up in front of the family and reporting about it. Water cycle, spinner you can make. Types of clouds. Let's get to natural disasters. Okay, here we go. Tornadoes with book list. Anatomy of a funnel cloud. Hurricanes. Tsunamis. Wildfires. I love that she also includes supply list for an emergency kit. We live in California, so wildfires are something that are real for us. So making an emergency kit so they can plan. Earthquakes and volcanoes. Again, another supply list. And then at the end here, she's got a research project. So older kids can put together a research project. And she does have a list of all of the different natural, well, probably most of the different natural disasters that have happened. So you can just say, okay, I want to do a tornado, and then pick one, Sicily tornadoes, and do a research project on it. I think that's a really great resource. I love that she added this in. Been so impressed with her units lately. They've been spot on. And then she does also have some writing prompts in here. So if you wanted to make it more of a true unit study approach and be doing this for English language arts as well, you could add that in. She has metaphors and similes, personification, and then here are those labels that I mentioned that you can cut and paste if you don't want to write them in. And then at the end of the book, which I did start printing, is she has Sudoku puzzles. She has like a whole game pack, and I have not done all of them because we probably won't use all of them, but I did print these out, so I thought I would show you. Just when you're printing them, be careful. I think it was my settings. It wasn't her, it was my settings, but I accidentally printed them like to flip on the wrong side. I didn't realize, but these, so they have weather, changing seasons, weather power, severe weather, and water and weather. And so you can use these. She has a game board that you can utilize to play with these cards, or you can use them as like a review. So it's got the question and the answers. So you can take turns reading the questions as a review once you finish that portion of the curriculum, or even at the beginning, and like start at the beginning and read and answer the questions, and then at the end see how much you've learned. So these are really cool, great resource. She has tons of different printable games that you can include as well. Okay, since I am going to be utilizing this resource with the weather study, I thought I would just give you a little peek inside. So it is broken up into different units. The units do not match the Waldock Way, which is why I've got like these, this book they partnered with Martha Stewart on this book. I have the tabs in there just to make it easier for myself. But you can see that they have different projects, and I like that it's got the pictures of the step-by-step because I'm very visual. We will not be doing that. We do not make slime in my house. We make Play-Doh sometimes though. Why is the sky blue? So some of them are more like crafty and some are like actual experiments, and it explains the science behind it, which I like. Just another way to enrich the unit, the science behind the fun. It's got lots of pictures, big in a bottle. Let's see if we can go to build a barometer. So this is an example of building a barometer. Is one of the projects in the weather and natural disasters unit study, but this one has pictures. So I appreciate that it has pictures. I'll be utilizing this as a reference for myself. Magic light box, cook with the sun. I have had the supplies to do this with my kids for like 2 years, and it's sitting in my pantry. Or maybe a year and a half. We're finally going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. It's got pictures. Make a solar clock. I have done this with my kids once before. We did that for a History Unboxed project. Lots and lots of pictures, and every time there's scientific explanations, which I appreciate because you can find science experiments and demonstrations on Pinterest, but oftentimes there's no science behind it. There's no explanation behind it. It's just for the fun and the visual effect. I like that there's both. I like the visual. We will be doing this one as well, the sun prints. Making rainbows. I don't know what a hygrometer is, but it looks fun. Cloud in a jar. My first grader specifically requested we make a cloud in a jar. She must have seen it somewhere, so we'll be doing that. Make a rain stick, which we're actually wrapping up our biome unit study right now, and we're studying the rainforest. So we're going to be doing this project next week. measuring the rainfall. Another one that was in the Waldock-Way study, but this one has visual. I mean, this one is pretty simple, so I'm sure I could have figured it out, but it's nice to have pictures. I like the pictures. Acid rain test. Now we're on to the wind. Making a weather vane, another one that is in the Waldock-Way unit, but it has pictures. Making a kite, science behind paper airplanes, wind erosion. I mean, there's so much cool. And then there's also severe weather events, which I like. Build a thunder tube, lightning at home, hurricane fidget spinner. I mean, come on, who doesn't like that? That looks fun. Hail, tornado, model landslides. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Seems like it's going to be a fun add-on for the unit, but again, definitely not required. We've got the eyewitness weather here. I don't know that we'll read word for word all of this. I may have my 6th grader read it on his own, but it's nice to have the extra pictures, especially when we're like learning about the who learns about the rain, the learning about weathermen. Being able to have that. There's lots of really cool real world pictures in here. Frost and ice. And for us, the climate we live in, we don't really get snow, so it's nice to be able to see pictures of that. Birth of a cloud, thunder and lightning. This does have some natural disaster stuff in there as well, but I'm going to show you that book. And this one is hardcover, and this one is soft cover, just because that's what they had on Amazon for the price I wanted to pay. So here is our natural disaster book, talking about earthquakes, surviving an earthquake, tsunamis, hurricanes, flooding, drought, wildfires, how they fight fire, climate change. So many really great pictures and extra reference if you need or want it. If you have a kid that likes to go down rabbit holes, these are great resources. So there we have it. A flip through of the weather and natural disaster unit study from the Waldock-Way. If you have any questions or want to review later on, let me know. And if you are still watching this video and you liked it, I'd love it if you could give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Bye.